Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah wa kafa. Wa salamun ala ibadihi allazina istafa amma ba'd. فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا وبارك وسلم ربي يسر ولا تؤسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين ربي زدني علما يا فتاح يا فتاح. So alhamdulillah, we are back in our session for the Ashra Mubashra series that we started a few weeks back. Alhamdulillah, Allah has given us the opportunity to do 3 of the Ashra Mubashra Sahaba. Ashra Mubashra, just to recap, were the Sahaba Ikram who were given the glad tidings of Jannah by Rasulullah in one sitting. So Ashra means 10, Mubashra means the one who has been given the glad tidings. Ashra Mubashra, the 10 Sahaba who were given glad tidings by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so by Rasulullah for Jannah in one sitting. Other Sahabas were also given the glad tidings of Jannah, and some of the Ashra Mubashra Sahabas were given the glad tidings of Jannah in other occasions, but it's only once that Rasulullah named them individual in one sitting, and that's what we have been capturing. The Sahaba Ikram that we have covered so far are Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and Sayyidina Usman bin Affan radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And today inshallah we'll start Sayyidina Ali Murtaza radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and all these Sahaba Ikram in the very same order as I just mentioned were the Sahaba Ikram who became the Khulafa of the Mu'mineen after the passage of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the first Amirul Mu'mineen, and he was called the Khalifa Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That was the honor and unique title that he had, Khalifa Rasul, and he was Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And then Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu became Amirul Mu'mineen, and then Sayyidina Usman, and then after Sayyidina Usman, Sayyidina Ali. So Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was the 4th in the Khulafai Rashideen. His name was Ali, and he was the son of Abu Taalib, who was the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Taalib was also the individual who had taken Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his guardianship after the passing of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's father Abdullah. And there was a portion of time when Abu Taalib had done the guardianship of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then Abu Muttalib, who was the grandfather of Rasulullah. Yes, these are the 2 individuals who have done primarily the look after of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Ali, who was the son of Abu Taalib, he came into the guardianship of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a young boy as well. So he was quite young to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got married at what age? He was 30 plus when he got married, and Sayyidina Ali was a 7-8-year-old boy at that point in time when he had come into the company of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. So he was still a nabaligh. He hadn't hit puberty when he had come. So that's how much the difference between Sayyidina Ali and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he was a household member of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got the Nabuwah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the Nabuwah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came back home, and the first person he met was Sayyida Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. He told her as to what had happened, and Sayyidina Khadija said that I believe in what you have been given, and she became the first woman to accept Islam. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started praying, and Sayyidina Khadija was praying behind Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, because he was a household member, still not in the age of puberty, he just walked in and he saw that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam praying and Sayyidina Khadija is praying behind him. So he asked them that, what is this? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him that I have been made the Nabi of Rasul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked me to pass on this message, and I give this message to you, and I want you to believe in it. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu said that I will consult my father and then I'll let you know. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him that I do not want you to consult your father, I want you to think about it yourself. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam obviously didn't want the message at this stage to go out. He didn't want that, others should become aware of it, and this was not the stage where he was even commanded to do public invitation or public dawah. So he said that, I want you to think about it. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu that night, he thought about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he thought about the love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to give him, the honesty of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the uprightness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the positive qualities of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam kept on coming to Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu's heart, and he grew even more in love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as he thought about it. So the next day he said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I accept Islam, and he became the first male to accept Islam. However, in male, he was the first boy to accept Islam. He was still a boy, as I said, he was probably under the age of puberty, and so he became the first child to accept Islam. Sayyidina Khadija was first woman, Sayyidina Ali was the first boy, and Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq was the first free man to accept Islam. These were the high qualities that these individuals had. Sayyidina Ali had remarkable honors in his life throughout, and inshallah I will capture them on different occasions. But few things that really stand out for them was that when Rasulullah ﷺ had to choose a person to stay in his bed when he was leaving in the cover of the night to migrate from Makkah Mukarramah to Medina Munawwara, he still wanted that the enemy, when they were peeking in, should feel that there is somebody sleeping in the bed. And they also, Rasulullah ﷺ wanted to see leave someone behind to carry out a very important responsibility, which was that because he was such a trustworthy person, even his enemies would come and leave their things with Rasulullah ﷺ, that this is a amanat that we are leaving with you, we'll take it back from you. And Rasulullah ﷺ, being the honest and upright person that he was, he didn't want to leave Makkah Mukarramah and not take care of those amanats that had been left with him. So he said that, he left Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu in his place, and he made him responsible that this belongs to this belongs to this belongs to this, you give it to them. And the enemy throughout kept on thinking that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his bed, they actually climbed in to the house as well, and when they were about to stab the person sleeping, they said that, just check is the right person. And when they removed the cover, they saw Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and they left him. So subhanallah, one of the honors that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave to Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was that he appointed him to be his naib, his representative, while he was migrating, and also to be in his bed, and also to give the amanats that he had with him. Then Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was also one of the Sahaba Ikrams who were literate. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu knew how to read and write. And on the occasion of Sulh Hudaybiyah, which we have spoken about in Usman radiallahu ta'ala anhu's time, when we were discussing his tenure, when the Muslims had gone for Umrah and they were prevented from doing the Umrah, and then the Kuffar in Makkah, they said that we will do a treaty with you, and that treaty would then enable you to come and do Umrah next year. And in that treaty, they sent a representative from their side, and they wanted to write that treaty. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam chose Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu to be the writer of the treaty. And an interesting event happened, that in that treaty, Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu wrote that this treaty between Quraysh and Makkah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so and so and so. When the draft was being read, the Quraysh said that cut out Rasulullah, right, between Quraysh and Makkah and Muhammad ibn Abdullah. So now Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu refused. He said, I can't cut it. I'm never going to cut Rasulullah. I mean, what's it's been written, it's been written. I, in my living moments, cannot cut Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the matter came to Rasulullah. I said, this is a deadlock now. This is a point that the as it happens in contract negotiations, there are certain points which have become non-negotiable. So Quraysh Makkah, like, this is a non-negotiable thing. It has to be. We don't believe in Rasulullah. How can we be signing a treaty with Rasulullah? Nauzubillah. So Rasulullah was so wanting to accommodate that treaty that he said to Ali to point out where is it says Rasulullah. So he said that from here to here, because Rasulullah was an Ummi, he didn't know where it. So Rasulullah then took and he cut it out himself. So so he had the honor of writing the Sulh Hudaybiyah as well. The contract or the treaty of Sulh Hudaybiyah was honor of Sayyidina Ali as well. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu also had a habit of maintaining a diary, and in that diary he had written down many of ahadith of Rasulullah, and those ahadith are called Sahifa Ali. And in this there are around about 746 ahadith that come from that, and all those 746 ahadith have the category of Sahih. So when they are formally documented later on, they were all taken as Sahih Hadith. So that's again a big honor. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu also had his own personal Quran. So the Sahaba Ikram, what they had done was that there was no compiled copy of Quran in the time of Rasulullah, but some of the Sahaba had taken down Quran and had written it down in their own booklets, in their own copies. And one such booklet or Quran was with Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, which he presented to Rasulullah, and Rasulullah, when he read it to Rasulullah was very pleased with it. So he also had the honor of having his own copy of Quran, which was later on then, once the copy that Usman radiallahu ta'ala had prepared, then all the other copies were removed. But prior to that, he had his own copy of Quran as well. Hazrat Ali had remarkable knowledge. His ilm was compared to no other Sahaba. He was an immensely wise and knowledgeable person as far as the matters of deen were concerned. Sayyidina Sayyid bin Musab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he comments about the wusat of, or the expense of Sayyidina Ali's knowledge. He says, Ma kana ahadum min an-nasi yaqul suluni ghayra Ali ibn Abi Taalib, that no one other than Sayyidina Ali would say openly, question me, then Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Everybody would shy away because they may not know something. But Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu had such immense knowledge, especially deep knowledge about Quran, that he had on occasion said that I swear that I know that which ayah came down, I know what was the background, what was the sign nuzul, what were the circumstances, what was the occasion, what was the location. So he had that in-depth knowledge about Quran, like others did not have it. Sayyidina Ali was assigned to become the governor and the Qazi of Yemen in the era of Rasulullah. Rasulullah had appointed him as the governor and the Qazi, as the judge, chief justice of Yemen in his own era. And Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu actually said to Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, I'm very young. I probably am not, wise enough to be the chief justice. So how would I go and execute justice over there? So Rasulullah, he put his blessed hand on Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu's chest, and he said, Allahumma ihdi qalbahu wa sabbit lisanahu, that, O Allah, give his heart guidance and give his tongue steadfastness. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala says that after this dua, whenever there were two things that came in front of him with which he had to decide, his heart immediately know what was the right thing to go for. He was immediately able to decide on the right thing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him such wisdom that throughout he was always able to do the right justice or take the right decisions between them. Rasulullah also on one occasion said that in my ummah the best Qazi is Ali. So that was the result of the dua of Rasulullah. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu had such personality that Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who himself was such a great person, would used to say that Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu has three such things that I prefer that these three honors would be with me as well. And And he said that I would prefer them to have them with me more than I would want to have the red camel. Surh Unt, like red camel is a very precious thing for the Arabs. So he said I would even prefer to have it more than that. One more one, that him being the son-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anhu was in marriage of Sayyidina Ali. So he said, that I would have liked to be the son-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Then the fact that he had the same permissions as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Ali had the same permissions as Sayyidina. In what sense? That Sayyidina Ali's house was also attached to masjid, just as Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's house was attached to the masjid. And just as Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was permissible for him to pass through the masjid in the halat of janabat. It was permissible for Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu to pass through the masjid in the halat of janabat. So it can't that, whatever was halal on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was also halal on Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu said that, I would have wanted to have the same honor as that. And the third saadat that he had was that he was given the flag on the day of Khaybar. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was given the flag on the day of Khaybar. What was this occasion? This was also a very interesting incident. So what had happened was that Khaybar was the town of the Jews. Even now they say that the Jews, their ultimate objective is to conquer the land back all the way up to Khaybar. That's what they want to do, because that's what they believe their right is, from where they are right now all the way up to Khaybar. That's what they want to acquire. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khaybar was one of the last main areas of the Jews. And what had happened in Khaybar was that Jews being Jews were always well off. They were quite well off people, and they had to safeguard their wealth. They had built multiple castles, not just one castle, but they had built multiple castles. So when the Muslims went over there, they had to fight with them in all those different castles. And it was a very difficult fight, because each castle was well guarded, and it was it had enough fortifications were difficult to penetrate it. But of the 12 castles that were there, the last one was the most difficult. And after few days of fighting, when they weren't still able to get through to the last one, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam announced that tomorrow I will give the flag to a person whom Allah and His Rasul loves, and Allah will give victory to the Muslims on his hand. So now this was a big honor, that whoever would be given the flag is definitely, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is confirming that both Allah and Rasulullah love him. It's not a small thing, right? So now every Sahabi, he had this desire in their heart that, we should get this flag in the morning, So the next morning after Fajr, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Aina Ali? Now everybody started looking for Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. It turned out that Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu had developed a disease in his eyes, and his eyes were hurting so much that he was hardly able to see. And because of his inability to see, he had not even joined Fajr. So Rasulullah said, bring him over. He brought them over. He said, where were you? Why didn't you come for Fajr? He said, Rasulullah, I'm not able to see anything. I believe I'm going blind over here. So he said, here's the flag. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, Jazakallah, but I can't see anything. What will I do with this flag? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he took his blessed saliva in his hand, and he then rubbed the saliva in the eyes of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu says that the blessing of that saliva was such that within few minutes his sight had returned, his eyes were completely cured, and he felt a great source of energy in them. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu took that flag, and he went with the rest of the Sahaba, and he marched towards that castle. Now this castle, the reason it was so difficult to penetrate was because it had the biggest door, like largest, heaviest door there is. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he literally plucked that door out of its place. And then in that castle was one gentleman who was a very renowned warrior, and his name was Muhrab. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu took the door as a shield in one hand and sword in the other hand, and he simply did away with Muhrab. Muhrab got killed in that battle, and Ali Khaybar got conquered, and Muslims were victorious in the hand of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And Rasulullah had said that the one I'll give the flag to will become the conqueror for the Muslims. Sahaba says that after the battle, Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu threw away the door. The next day, he said that we went, 8 of us, me and 7 other Sahaba, we went to that door and we tried to lift that door all together. And said that 8 of us could not lift that door, which Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu had taken single-handedly, and he was fighting with it. So that was the strength that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given to him, and this was not just the physical strength, this was also the spiritual strength that had come into him because of the du'as of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, his kunyat, you understand what kunyat means? Kunyat is, like even now Arabs are called Abu Fala. So kunyat is when you are known by your offsprings, right? So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, because his oldest son was Hassan, was known as Abu Hassan. But he also had another kunyat, and that was Abu Turab. Turab means sand, dust, right? What happened was that once Rasulullah came to the house of Sayyidina Fatima, and he found that Sayyidina Fatima was sitting in one corner, and we looked for Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and this wasn't like a huge house, it was like just one room sort of place. You can imagine, you've seen the hujra of Rasulullah, so it's a similar small size. So he couldn't find Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He said, where's Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu? So Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anhu said that, we just had a sort of a misunderstanding, and as the couples have, and it got a bit heated, and Ali has left the house because he didn't want to argue much, so he said better to control anger, and he left. So when he came out, he said that best thing for me is to just lie down and cool myself down. So just around the masjid next to a wall, he just lied down on the ground and he went to sleep over there. So Rasulullah came out and he was looking for Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and then he saw that Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu is lying in the sand, next to the wall and sleeping. So Rasulullah came to him and he nudged him and said, Ya Abu Turab, kum, like, oh Abu Turab, stand. So he said now, and Rasulullah was saying Abu Turab because he was all in the sand. So he, and jokingly said Abu Turab, like father of the sand, just stand. So because Rasulullah called him Abu Turab, he said that this kunyat is more precious to me than any other kunyat, and he preferred to be called Abu Turab. He had 3 sons and 2 daughters. His 3 sons were Hassan, Hussein and Mohsin. Mohsin also the Nawasa of Rasulullah, but he passed away as a young boy, as a child, as a baby. So that's why we don't hear much about him. We hear about Hassan and Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, but Mohsin was also there. And then they had 2 daughters. One was Zainab and the other was Kulsum. Zainab also passed away as a baby, and Kulsum later on got married to Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was also the son-in-law of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was the father-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he became the son-in-law of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. That also goes to show that how well tied these guys were, because now some people try to create this illusion that there were differences among them, but they were actually one family. The relationship of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu with Rasulullah's family was, it can be imagined that at one place he had his own daughter in marriage, with daughter of Umar radiallahu ta'ala was in marriage of Rasulullah, and the daughter of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was in marriage of Umar radiallahu ta'ala. So they had very strong family ties, right? And that should be kept in mind at all times. Rasulullah would have a lot of regard for Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, because he was family, because he was husband of Fatima, because he was with him since childhood. And Ali radiallahu ta'ala knew that how close he is to Rasulullah, And therefore, on occasions when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would be in not so pleasant a mood, it would be angry about something, even Ali and even Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu would be hesitant to go and speak to Rasulullah. But they would come and ask Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu to go and speak, because they knew that Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu has that intimacy to pass that robe of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And even when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to joke, he would be more casual and frank with Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu compared to the rest. Because at times you are more formal generally with people, but there are few people who you become easy with. And Ali radiallahu ta'ala was one of those people who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would be quite easy going with. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would actually do some jokes. Actually, this is a good occasion to tell me about few of the jokes that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had done, practical jokes with people. But the beauty of, and the reason that we should know, is that at times we think that Islam is so tough that there is even joking is not allowed. Joking is allowed in Islam, but the only condition is that the joke should not make fun of someone. It should not be a lie. It should not be an abuse. The stand-ups that we have these days, there's a lot of vulgarity in them, there's a lot of abusive language in them, and there's a lot of lying in them, there's a lot of mockery in them, there's a lot of belittling the other person in them. And we all laugh away at that. But if you really reflect, that's all gossip, that's all ghiba, that's all guna, it's all slander, So that's a serious thing. When I started realizing all of this, I felt very bad, because I used to enjoy stand-up at one point in time in my life, and I realized that what a great major guna that is. It's not even a minor sin, it's a major sin to be actually doing all of this. So we need to be mindful. But let's look at how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was a khadim of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a young boy who came into Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's khidmat. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once called him Ya Zul Uznan, right? Ya Zal Uznan. Ya Zal Uznan means, O person of 2 ears. Now, everyone is a person of 2 ears. Who doesn't have 2 ears? But the way he called him, it just stood out, and it made everybody crack up. So he did it like that. Once an old woman came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she said, Ya Rasulullah, please make dua for me that Allah accept me into Jannah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a very serious face said, O Fala, old woman will not. So she heard that, she started to cry and cried, and then with that crying she was about to leave. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam called her back. He said, you didn't ask me that why would they not enter. I was waiting for you to ask me why would the old women not enter. She said, Ya Rasulullah, but you said they will not enter, so I just accepted it. He said, I said that they will not enter because all the women would become young, and they will enter the Jannah as a young woman. There will be no old women entering into Jannah. So it was once a Sahabi came and he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, I want a camel. He said, I will only give you a child of a camel, son of a camel. Camel ka bachcha dunga, oont ka bachcha dunga. He said, Rasulullah, I need to take that camel for a trade. I need a grown-up camel. Please give me a grown-up. I'll give you a child camel. I'll give you a child camel ka bachcha dunga, oont ka bachcha dunga. That Sahaba was very upset, and he kept on. And then he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Oh Allah ke bande, all I'm saying to you is that I'll give you a child camel, like that wo bhi kisi ka to bachcha hoga hi na. Matlab, it's not that will be even if it's a grown-up camel, it will still be a child of a camel. So Rasulullah would do these things, and he would be casual with Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu more often than anyone else. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was also given the Bashara of Jannat many occasions other than this Ashra Mubashra as well. So he would often take the name of Ali or would point to Ali, and he would say that he is from the Jannah. In fact, Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, even his children, his wife, all of them were given the Basharat of Jannah. Hassan and Hussain were given as the Shabab of Jannah, the head of the chief youth of Jannah. Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anhu was given the title of the head woman of Jannah. He belonged to a very meritorious family. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was a great mujahid. In fact, the bravery of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was compared to none. Although we talk a lot about Khalid bin Walid radiallahu ta'ala anhu as a great warrior, but the bravery of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, nobody compared to that. He stood out on Ghazwa Badr, he stood out on Uhud, he stood out on Baitul Aqba, he stood out on Baitul Ridwan. On all these occasions, Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was a one-man army himself. In Khandaq, the war of Khandaq, Jang Khandaq, there was a soldier on the opposing army. His name was Amr bin Abdud, and he was a mighty brave soldier. I mean, his bravery was known among the Arabs. And so much so that poetry was written about his bravery. Ahmed, फारिग हो जाओ तो कुछ खाना खा बल्कि अगर फारिग नहीं भी हो तो आके पहले खाना. So poetry was written about his bravery. He could not jump across the trench in Jang Khandaq, so he went into the trench, and then from there he started calling the Muslims out. He said, whoever is brave enough, come fight me. Let me see who has you. As we say it in Urdu, Mai ka lal hai to I, So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu said to Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, let me. Then he called out again, is there anyone brave enough to take me on? Come on, let me see what you have in you. He said, and then he started reading out his own poetry that is written about his bravery, just boasting that how skillful and how great he is. And radiallahu ta'ala anhu said to Ya Rasulullah, let me go. Rasulullah said, Ali, I've told you, sit. It was a bit more harsh this time with him. The third time, he now started making fun of the Muslim Islam. He said Muslims are scared and this and that, and he started calling names to them. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu said to Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, it's not worth living if we have to hear such things from them. Let me just go. Rasulullah said, okay, go. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu jumped in the trench with him. And now this guy was, you can imagine, huge, tall, massive build, the warrior of the Arabs. And Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, bacha, still not fully built, full not developed, short in height. So he looked at him and he felt that, this child must be either a completely fool or, extremely brave to have come in. He said, I know that you don't have much elders in Quraysh. I think you're still a child. Go back and send somebody old enough to fight with me. And then he started making fun that, don't you have anybody old that you've started sending child to fight with me? Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, I'm here to fight with you, fight with me. So he attacked him, and his attack hit the armor of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and his sword got stuck in that and it broke. So that's how powerful Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu took that occasion. He counter-attacked, he hit him here and split till here. The guy opened up, died there, and that shook. You can imagine this is like, movie scene. Yeah, it's definitely a movie scene, but you can imagine that, the best of the best has come, and suddenly, he's knocked out. Pin drop silence, and everybody is like, wow, like, where do we go from here? So he had this honor of killing the bravest of the brave in Arabs as well. In Ghazwa Tabuk, this was the occasion when Rasulullah had to go and take the army all the way to the border. We talked about Ghazwa Tabuk in Umar radiallahu ta'ala's time as well. Rasulullah appointed Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu to stay behind to look after the Medina city while he was away. So he be the Amir of Medina while Rasulullah was away. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was a warrior. He didn't want to stay back and look after men and women and children. So he said to Rasulullah the next day, Ya Rasulullah, I'm going to miss you so much. I'm already missing you. Just knowing that you will be away. When you will be away, how much more I will miss you. So he said that, Ya Rasulullah, are you leaving me to just look after women and children? I mean, like, is that what I'm reduced to? He said, I want to be with you and fight with you. Why are you reducing me to just be with women and children? So Rasulullah said to him that are you not happy with the fact Ama tarda an takuna minni, that you are to me bimanzilati Harun min Musa, that as Harun alayhi salam was to Musa alayhi salam, ghayra annahu la nabuwata ba'di, except the fact that there will be no Nabi after. I mean, this was a great honor. He was saying that just as Harun alayhi salam was to Musa alayhi salam, and Rasulullah Musa alayhi salam could trust Harun alayhi salam to look after the people after him. He said that I can trust you to look after people after me, except for the fact that Allah made Harun alayhi salam a Nabi, and there will be no Nabi after me. So this was again a very big honor that was given to Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. One more interesting thing happened. I'll just now talk few things which shows that how Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was a very intrinsic part of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once a delegation came from Najran. Najran was in where? Was in Yemen in Africa. It wasn't. Najran is still border of Yemen. It's not border. It's now in Saudi, but it was Yemen, part of Yemen at that time. A delegation came from Najran, and there were 60 men in there, and these were all influential, well-off traders, high valued individuals, and they had come with one of the leading pope of that time. And pope at that time were influential personalities, so they would be surrounded mostly by men like such traders. So they all came to discuss the Christianity with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The pope name was Abdul Masih. So he came and he said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abdul Masih, that Sayyidina Isa was born without a father, therefore Sayyidina Isa is the son of Allah, na'uzubillah. When he said this to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, okay, if you say that Isa was born without this father, therefore he is the son of Allah, then Adam was born without a father and a mother, so then how is it he is not the son of Allah? Why do you acknowledge him as the prophet of Allah and not? So now this was such a logical argument that they were again clean bowled. They didn't know what to say. So they said, okay, they closed up and they said we'll come some other time. At this point in time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Wahi came down on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said to him that do a mubahila with them. Mubahila is a sort of discourse in which you challenge the other party to say that you bring your children and your family members, and I will bring my children and my family members, and whoever is wrong, may the curse of Allah be on them. And this is actually, it came down in the ayah of Quran, Al Imran, فَقُلْ تَعَالُوا نَدْعُوا أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ ثُمَّ نَبْتَحِلْ فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. That, or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell them that you bring your sons, we will bring ours, you to bring your women, we will bring ours, and you bring your people and we will bring ours, and then we will all ask Allah, and whoever is the liar, Allah's curse be on that. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave them the offer from Mubahila, and then from his family he took Sayyidina Ali, Sayyidina Fatima, Sayyidina Hassan and Sayyidina Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala ajma'in, and he said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahum ha'ula'i ahli, that, oh Allah, these are my family. So he took them and he said that I have brought my son, my woman, my children, you bring yours, and let's do a mubahila and see who it is. But they knew they were wrong, so they cut corners and they left. But the point of sharing this occasion was that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to present his family for such a matter, Ali radiyallahu ta'ala was among them. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said to Ali radiyallahu ta'ala, Anta minni wa ana minka, that you are from me and I am from you. This is like same as saying that we are same blood, just to show the closeness and affection between them. He made these things. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated to Medina Munawwara, one of the biggest challenge he faced up front was how does he settle all these displaced people. Pakistan is also facing this problem about displaced people for last I don't know how many years, but every time there are refugees, every time there are migrants, there is a big issue that what do we do with those displaced people? How do you settle them down? Where do they stay? How will they earn? All of that. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was also faced with this challenge. The hijrah happened. The beautiful solution that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came up with was, he said that he made brothers between Muhajir and the Ansar. He said that one Muhajir is a brother of Ansar, and Ansar, subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given them such big hearts that they accepted it as well. They didn't say that And I think about this so many times in my life. What did they do? And the Ansar, they said that, everything, because now that you are my brother, everything that I have becomes an equal split between you and me. If I have 2 houses, 1 is yours. If I have 1 house, 1 portion is yours, 1 is mine. Some of the Ansar even said that I have 2 wives, I give divorce to one of my wives, you get married to her after the iddah is over, iddah period is over, so that you have a wife as well. So they split it that much. And I always think that, subhanAllah, the lives that we have, and it's not that these occasions don't come in our lives. So many people got displaced. Like from our childhood, if we think about it, people from Afghanistan, people from Syria, people from Iraq, people from all these places in Muslim countries where war has broken out, people have been displaced and they have come into places where we are living. But when have it had even occurred to us that, we will bring them into our house and say that, half of this is yours? We just don't, right? And this was Kamal of these people, they did this. Why am I saying this in the story of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu? Because when Rasulullah made one Sahabi, a Muhajir Sahabi with an Ansari Sahabi, a brother, in the end, Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was left. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, who's my brother? So Rasulullah said to him that I am your brother, right? So he had the honor of becoming the brother of Rasulullah in Mawakhat. So this was also another occasion. Rasulullah said, Anta akhi fid dunya wal akhirah, that you are my brother in this dunya and in akhirah. Where would Rasulullah be in akhirah? Jannah, Jannatul Firdaus. So where would Ali radiallahu ta'ala be in Ijazah? Another Bashar, right? Allahu Akbar. And on another occasion, Rasulullah said that La yuhibbuka illa mu'minun wa la yubghiduka illa munafiqun. He said to Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu that, O Ali, no one will love you except that he is a mu'min, and no one will have a bughz with you or would have a hatred for you or animosity for you except that he is a munafiq. A litmus test. And a litmus test is that if you have love for Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu in your heart, you are a mu'min, and if you have an iota of a hatred for Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, you are a munafiq. And it holds true today as well. No one should have this delusion that we can comment about anything about Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu in a negative manner. He was a very high status individual, very close personality of Rasulullah. Once Rasulullah was away and Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anhu came to the house of Rasulullah, and Rasulullah, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anhu said to Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anhu that Rasulullah is away. So she went back. After a while, Rasulullah came and Fatima radiallahu ta'ala, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anhu told him that, Fatima had come and she was looking for you. So Rasulullah instantly went to the house of Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Now he sort of called out, and it wasn't as such there were wooden doors that he would knock and wait. They were just a partition that was set in. So Rasulullah called out, he sought permission to come in, and then he walked in. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu says that we were tired, so myself and Fatima, we only had one bed at that point in time. So we had put that bed, and it wasn't like they had a queen's bed and they were lying on that. They had just one tart, and they were, that put that down on the ground, and they were lying on that together. So Rasulullah walked in, and they, instantly tried to get up. Of course, it was Rasulullah was coming in. So he said, no, keep sitting, don't move. So he said that he came and he sat between us, such that one of his legs were touching the leg of Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and other leg was touching that of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Why go in such detail? The ahadith go in such detail to show the closeness, the intimacy, that such things do not happen with strangers. It only happens when you won't do that with a stranger. You would only do that with your own son and daughter, right? You would only have that closeness with. So that's the level of closeness that they had. Why had you come, Fatima? What was the occasion? Ya Rasulullah, he said that, why had you come? She said, Lord Rasulullah, my life is very tough right now. There's a lot of work that I have to do. I do all the housework myself, and my hands are all blistered. A lot of responsibility on me. I've come to know that some slaves have come into Medina. So I just wanted to request that if one of those slaves could be given to me. so that I have some household help, and at least the external work, the tough work can be done by him, and I can do the other thing. So Rasulullah said to her that, "Oh Fatima, why don't I tell you one thing which if you do, then Allah will take care of all your matters." He said, "Ya Rasulullah, why not?" He said, "Before you go to sleep, say Subhanallah 33, Alhamdulillah 33, and Allahu Akbar 33 times. And if you say this, your next day, all things Allah will take." And Ali radiallahu anhu says that ever since Rasulullah gave this tasbih to us, we did it every night, even if it was meant that we have to do it close to Fajr time, but we did it. We didn't miss it, and all our matters took care of themselves. So, like Usman radiallahu anhu's story, we will cut this story into two parts. We'll leave the first part over here, inshallah. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu, 33 times each. That is a different tasbih. And that tasbih is a different tasbih, and this is a different tasbih. This is before this. Yeah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to develop the love of these beautiful individuals and develop the personalities like them as well. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.